You
Let's
got
do
something
orange
there.
today.
All right.
I look nice and orange with my tie-dye shirt here. All right.
Ladies and gentlemen, this is the next episode of the Cathode Ray Podcast number 41. I'm here with my friend Steve Nutter. We're just going to be talking about some of the work Steve's been doing this week and a few opinions that we have on topics that are going around. Steve, how you doing, mate?
I'm doing great, Lewis. It's good
Doing
to
good?
see you again so quickly.
Yeah.
After not having to wait weeks and weeks and weeks. So
It feels good. Because I'm off,
I feel like
I'm
we
off
could
on
have
another
talked
little
for
trip
hours,
next week.
but
I'm
yeah,
off on
and
another
then
little
you're
trip
leaving
next
again.
week. So that's why we'll do this one here. We'll get this one in the bag, get another one down. So, you're looking good. You got nice tie-dyed shirt, dude. So
Yeah,
how many
this
how many
is one
years
that's
have you
homemade.
owned that? How many years have you owned that
Oh, look,
shirt
it's got a
for?
nice hole in it, too, right there. How many years have I owned this shirt? Holy crap. Who knows? Del Sol St. Martin. I mean, this was like something, so somebody came back from the family and was like, hey, I went to St. Martin and I bought you this T-shirt, probably like my mom. And it was white originally. And then my family got into tie-dyeing like 3 years ago. So
Okay.
at that point, this would have been like a 5-year-old shirt. Then we went to tie-dye it. So it's probably pushing 8, 9 years. It's definitely one that you could freely solder in and not worry about it.
Okay,
That
it's a
hole
work
is
shirt.
great.
That's cool.
There we go. That's right. I'm on duty here.
So on duty, your big thing that you've been doing for the last day or so is you're setting up a new streaming station downstairs. So many people have been asking Steve, we love the videos. We want to see you doing this. More of it. So you've got some bits. You've assembled a streaming PC for the workshop downstairs. Walk us through, I guess, where you're thinking of this and how it went.
Sure. So, yeah, I mean, this has all been kind of in hopes of one day being able to do some live streams. I mean, you and I always talk about wanting to do live streams, and then it's just it seems like it's so difficult to get it to rightly schedule. But now, so I was trying to tell you this, like now I've got much more opportunities during the daytime this year because I'm here at my workshop. There's before, for the last year, my wife hasn't had to work or get a job, but she found a job, a really nice job at a university here. So she's out of the house during these daytime hours. So that means that I can, just stream and not have to worry about really anybody besides, like I said last time, the dogs showing up. So that was kind of like I knew that time would eventually come. So that now that happened, it gives me a good block because I also have kids, and when they're gone at school. So now I've got the station kind of set up. I've been working and comfortably in it for a while, making the videos. And now it's like I want to take this and kind of do a live stream version of this where I would go in and just be doing normal things that I'm doing and just be live streaming it for an hour or two during the week. And then so that's kind of what we thought about it. I did also talk to some people that are well respected within our community, and they all said it sounded like, something that they were really saying I should try it out. So I respected it. It was like Tito. I had a conversation with Tito from Macho Nacho. And he was saying, I would think that would be a really good idea. And a lot of other people have said that. So I don't know. We're going to definitely see how it goes this year, because I did go and buy a bunch of equipment at the end of the year.
Any excuse to buy some new equipment.
Well, you don't want to pay. I mean, you don't want to make too much money. So at the end of the year, I had an extra $500 budget.
Oh, you mean the tax thing? Yeah, I thought you were being sarcastic. I don't want to be too baller. But okay, you want the write-offs.
No.
Write-offs. Yeah.
So this is all stuff I bought like literally after Christmas. Most of it I actually purchased on the 31st of December.
Just to get
and it
that
arrived
date for the tax.
Yeah, just to get it, done there and be done. And so I've got a bunch of pile of empty boxes. I'll show you what I got and how much I actually spent on it, because I thought it was pretty good to be able to build a decent PC tower. And a lot of people have been asking, oh, what are the parts list? Well, and how much did each part cost? And I didn't really want to. I mean, I kind of wanted to make a video about it, but at the same time, I'm like, gosh, if I make a video about all this stuff, I'll never get it actually done.
Yeah.
So
that's why streams are good. And we've got the podcast as an option. The stream is an option. Like we were saying in the last episode, I think I want to stream when I test Mike Simone and Antonio's new adapters. I just sort of got to work out some angles here, and then also if I'm testing adapters, then you kind of want to see the CRT, right? So sort of how I can get that, where I imagine I mean, the CRT testing for you is really just the small bit at the end a lot of the time. You're doing your work soldering, sort of that sort of work on the boards.
Yeah, and it's going to kind of depend on whatever I feel like almost talking about, too. Because there'll be times where I'll come into the streams, especially at the beginning, and try to have a topic and an idea. And I'm sure by the, 15th or something, it'll just be me doing whatever's on the desk as opposed to really being able to curate it as much. So I think that's going to be fun at the beginning because there'll be a lot more details thrown into it as I'll be able to prepare for it. Hopefully it all work out. It's it's an interesting step.
Where did you get the bits from? Where did you make the order from?
So most of it was from Amazon. So this can all be redone from anybody. So
Sure.
yeah, let's just talk about it. So yeah, like I have my workbench, and actually, when this podcast is coming out, it's probably right after the video I've got coming out of my shop tour. So if anybody's actually seen that video, then you'll see a lot of what I'm talking about. I show off the workbench area, and that's the area I'm converting into this shop that has. The thing is like when you try to film an area and live stream, you realize how much you need lighting. Yeah. And I'm like shoving all these extra large lights over top the area behind stuff and trying to like zip tie them to poles so they won't fall over. And
Is that shop tour? Is that a Patreon only video?
No, it's actually going to be one that I've gone through, and it's like it's a real production.
Okay, nice.
So it's coming out, kind of. I mean, it'll be out by the time this is probably out.
Sure, this will probably go out next week, next Wednesday, Thursday,
so
something like that. Yeah.
This will be out this weekend, so it will have been out for a few days, and most people have seen that. So
it's
yeah,
a good
you'll get an
follow-up
idea.
Nice,
So like it's like the first bit is me walking through the indoor storage area, which is something I've really never shown. I literally just go through and go. And I've edited it to where I cut through like the 40 CRT things I have in the storage area, and it's like this is this, and so I go through a lot of the stuff in there. But then again, I also go through the details on the tools I'm using, the area, the workspace, how it's set up, what I want to use and what I want to do. It's more of an explanation of that, and then it shows off some of the offloading area, and so it's just really a tour of the workspaces that I use mostly, not for actual repair and restoration stuff. Nothing on like the video editing side or anything like that. I left that studio part kind of out. It's just shop stuff.
That's okay. That's what we want to see.
Yeah.
We want to
so
see
that's what. Yeah. So hopefully some people will enjoy that, and then. So since that shop tour is when I started actually building this PC because I had the parts here, and so are you ready?
Yeah. So what do we got? Take us through the parts list because it's interesting for me because I'm also, and you don't have to spoil it yet, but I'm going to be also interested in your graphics solutions. That makes a difference for rendering times and also when you're streaming as well, because I just use a small little desktop i5 here with integrated graphics, and it seems to go okay for what we're doing here, but I don't sort of export or anything, and I keep thinking, should I buy a tower, something with a proper video card, but I'm getting there instead. So what do you got?
Yeah, so again, I mean, when I'm talking about my budget here, it's $500, and I was trying to get everything for the most part. Now, that does not include my cameras or anything like that. My audio stuff, that stuff I already have. So thankfully that will be okay. The options that I do have. So this is just like the PC. So to begin with, well, let's see here. I'll show you some of the items that before we get in and just spoil the graphics and solution. We'll talk about the other stuff that I was able to get like incredible deals on. So this is the hard drive that I got. It's an SSD solid state NVMe2 style.
Okay.
NVMe.
Oh yeah, the
M2,
really small thin one. Yep.
Right, thin one, and it's a 1 terabyte.
Good.
And plenty fast for what I'm doing.
Yep.
Now this retails for $100, but over the holidays I was able to get one of these for $59.
Jesus.
Shipped $59. So yeah,
59
you can
ship.
see all this.
Do you have
speed and
Amazon
everything on
Prime
there.
or not? Do you have a Prime?
Yes.
No.
So that includes shipping.
Yep.
And then this even includes my local taxes. So I was really able to get that's one thing I was able to save a ton of money on. And I noticed that randomly it would be different brands that would just show up on sale. That was like cheaper than the older. It was like the cheapest option. Like then anything. So
is that to get that because that's the stick of memory, right? Those M2s are like that stick.
That's
yeah,
just
you can
my
see
hard
there.
drive.
And was that just cheaper than getting a 2.5 whatever the small regular sort of SSD size? It was just cheaper.
Oh yeah,
Yep.
way cheaper and faster.
Yep.
Than the other options. And I mean, I think that I could have gotten half that size for $50. So it was like literally less than $10 difference at that time for that. So that was something I was able to see. Another thing is I did get my RAM for only $66. And this is just the casing. Again, it's super cheap, generic stuff. It's PowerX Gaming Turbine. DDR4, 3200 is the speed, but I did get two 16 gigabyte sticks, so that that's the RAM, very generic, the cheapest I could find that was 16 gigs that fit the system that was at least 3200.
Because I was just checking there, so that was 32 gigs for 60 something.
32 gigs for $66.
Dang, bro! Because I wanted an upgrade for this little desktop thing, and locally here, I think a decent brand, but I was looking for like half that basically. I was looking for 16 gigs for about $60, so that's an amazing deal.
Yeah, that was so that's. I mean, I know that 16 probably would have been fine for what I'm doing, but I love having 32 instead.
Mate, you may as well.
And so that was the those were two things I got incredible deals on. Let me see what else here. All right, so this was the case I went with, which was just it was a cheap it's called the Versa H15, really cheap. It doesn't even have like glass on the side. There's no LEDs or anything in this. It's literally all enclosed.
No RGB?
No RGB in this system.
Does it come with did that case come with a power supply?
No. And this was $50, like right on the money.
Yeah. Jeez. Okay.
$50.
Yeah.
Let me see. $45. I'm sorry, 45. So not even 50.
Okay.
And it was what is it? Micro ATX. I think that was the size, because then we'll go ahead and start into the good stuff here.
It's your Mobo.
So that was, this is the motherboard I got. Let's see.
Okay.
Motherboard, $80 was this. It's an Asus
Aura Sync. What is that? Aura? Is this some sort of RGB shit or something that can hook up? What's Aura Sync? It says Asus Aura Sync.
I think that you could do like some stuff like that.
Okay.
So this is specifically for AMD chips, which I'm using in this system, AMD Ryzen chips. And I didn't want something that was really oversized or anything. So this pretty much met all the needs. The only thing it is like it's $80, and obviously it doesn't have Wi-Fi on it. So
no shit, really? Such a thing exists?
No Wi-Fi, right? So I don't care. I didn't want to use Wi-Fi.
It's a good point.
So that's the one reason I'm not. Yeah. That's the one reason I'm not streaming from there right now. Today's for this episode is because I have to run. I have to run on my ceiling down here 100-foot Ethernet cable, and I'm waiting for that to show up in the mail.
Nice.
So that'll be here tomorrow, supposedly. All right, so there's that. And then to go with that, this is what I did for the both CPU and GPU in one. And that's really the only way to save, to get new hardware, I feel like, and save any kind of money, is this 2-in-1 chip here. So this is an AMD 4600G. And it's a 6-core, 12-thread processor, 4.2 gigahertz boost max, 3.7 gigahertz base. So it also includes Radeon graphics. So it's one of the chips that has graphics built into it. Okay. So there's no, like, you don't have to, like, I'm running the, there's a display board
Yeah, how does that work?
There's a display board built into this right here in the motherboard.
It feeds the graphics,
and it goes straight from here. So there's like HDMI and DisplayPort and VGA, and it'll do up to like 1080p fine output. And it's not going to be super fast for video editing. I'm not streaming over 1080p, so it should be able to handle that no problem. It's super quiet. Now the thing is, these are really good chips in my experiences. I've got 4 of them in different builds, not this same one, but different AMD ones. So that chip with the CPU and GPU is only $106.
$106. Wow.
Yeah. Like you open up Amazon, you type in AMD, and it's like, get this now for $106 new.
Tremendous. So
and
is
this
that
is
also
not new? This is like 3 or 4 year old chip, basically, kind of.
Is that why you chose that motherboard, because it knows how to work well with the AMD and the integrated graphics from the CPU can be piped out?
Exactly. Same thing with the RAM. Like the RAM is a good fit for that, and so that's why you could pair that better RAM up with the system. And so yeah, that's what it's based around. Is this now? This thing comes with a cooler in it, like a
fan.
But it is it's an absolute turd of a cooler. Like
loud.
I tried to use it. I've tried to use it before, and I never use it, especially this cheap one. Like there's other coolers that they make, like on their better chips that are not cheap, that are actually good coolers. But the one with this that's included, people say it's okay, but I've always had bad experiences.
Is it the volume? Is that just the problem, or the temperature? Why is it bad?
Yeah, no. Like I had a system I was trying to run with it, and it would kind of crash out because it would overheat.
No shit. Okay.
And it would just fail safe. It would get high on temperatures. And so immediately when I changed the cooler out with like a Noctua fan, which is what I bought here. Now this is one of the things I spent more money on. This one again is specifically for that chip, AMD. It's a low profile cooler, so it's like literally as thin as this.
Okay.
With the cooler and the fan on there. But that's the one I got for $45 again.
It's funny, isn't it? The cooler costs half the price of the CPU. Yeah. But that's a good Noctua.
So,
sure, and is the sound volume, I mean, Noctua are known for having those super silent fans, like it's silent.
Yeah,
right?
this system's really cold. I mean, it really like running cold. It was, I was just letting it run. It wasn't really doing anything except running through Windows, and it was under 30 degrees Celsius.
Tremendous.
So it's running like, I'm sure once it gets up, it'll go around 70, probably max. This was another thing you don't want to go too cheap on, I believe, is power supplies, because a lot of those could be absolute trash. This was a decent one.
It's a good brand. Yep, sure.
$50. What is it? Cooler Master. Yeah, I always try to go with the better brands on there, and I didn't need more than that. You could get away with a lesser power rating, right? Because they have no GPU in it. So it's not like a big power-hungry system already. It's pretty lean. Okay. So, yeah, that's the one on there that was $50. And then I got the most generic wireless keyboard and mouse combo. Look at this box.
That is generic. No brand, no name. No name, nothing.
It's just like... Yep.
It's not going to annoy you? Like, because, I mean, cheap keyboards could be a bit...
Well, the thing is no, I mean, I don't know. I'm just like throwing it over the side.
Yeah.
I will see for now to get it going. I feel like I can deal with that later. I just want to have something.
Yeah.
So, yeah, that was $26 for that combo.
All right, not so bad.
Definitely skipped on the money there. Now, for the display, I needed some space, so I did not go with the CRT. I got this cheap LCD... Let's see if I get it in there. It's just 22-inch, actually, LED, it says.
LED.
See, I didn't even know what it was. 75 hertz, 1080p, so it's not even like that,
Sure, 75 hertz, 1080p.
Skepta.
Skepta. I've never heard of such a brand.
Skepta, who knows?
Yeah.
So it's small. It's
the James Bond
nice.
villain, Skepta.
Right. It's just like it's a 6 pound. It's less than 6 pounds. So it sits up there. That's the screen right over here that I'm just going to be using to read chat.
Right, that's all you need it for. It just has to be that, yeah.
Yeah.
How much was the monitor? Sorry, I missed that.
$86.
Okay.
Shipped, taxed, everything.
Okay, that's not too bad because monitors are even something you can get very cheap secondhand as well.
You're right.
Yeah, my girlfriend wants one for her desktop, and I keep looking around like some nice secondhand Dell or something like that. But again, for your chat, you're good with this. This is not the main. This is not the gaming PC. This is the one you do the work down there on. Yeah, okay.
Yeah, it's just then I'll run. I'm not sure what I want to do for sound yet because.
Is there onboard sound though on the?
Oh yeah, I mean I've got sound. Actually, I was using the sound card. There's onboard sound in the motherboard. And I'm hooking that to an old Sony 90s or early 2000s jukebox, whatever.
Boombox.
Boombox.
I saw that in your pictures you sent me. Yeah, the boombox you sent me earlier. Yeah. That's what I use over here for my gaming system on my BVM. I've got a same thing, a Sony boombox off to the side that I run the line into.
Yeah. So that works fine for that kind of, sound down there if I need it. But I don't know about whether I want to try to get maybe a nice headset, right? To use like
your
a microphone thingy, like just
when
tiny
you're working.
microphone, or try lapel while I'm doing it.
Let's start a few options then. So you've got all the setup, but let's say you were just using a regular microphone. Would you take this audio interface that you're using right now and connect that up, or what would be using to connect the microphone to the computer?
So right now I'm using a Focusrite, which one? Scarlett Solo. I think it's 3rd gen or something.
Is that the red one?
And it's the one.
Scarlett,
it's a red one. It's the one I use for this show. It's pretty common.
Yeah.
And I set the computer up to where it could take that. So I would either use that or I was thinking maybe even just some headphones that directly connect into the PC, since the PC's right there next to me.
Sure.
For like a headset thing, but I don't know how. I think that's going to probably sound like crap. So I thought the other way would sound better, but I don't know how. I mean,
you were thinking, with a headset that had one of these ones coming around the mouth. Did they sound like crap today? I thought they were.
Well, some of them, I don't know.
Maybe
sometimes I feel like they do. Sometimes I don't. I don't know. So that's the other thing. I just have to fool around and see what kind of works best on there.
Portable mic stuff is hard because I think Bob, when Retro RGB Bob, he just uses a big old shotgun mic, I think. And then sometimes you can hear him, he kind of fades out a bit. So the lapel might be okay, but then you've got the wireless kind of problem. Well, okay, here's the next question then.
I mean, I just have to go probably a whole wired, like with just a long.
I guess yeah. You're not walking very far,
easier.
are you?
No, that's what I'm saying. I'm in like a little.
So maybe that's why it's okay.
Workspace sitting down, and then so the choices would either be to have the microphone kind of like this. Or on an arm again. I've got that arm that I used to have. I could put that up and have
somehow run the lapel. I mean, the lapel's not a bad option. I guess if you you're not too bad with the lapel if you look at around there. The mic, you've got to be close to it. When I stream, people tell me like, Lewis, stop talking like this. You gotta talk over here.
Yeah, it happens like that. So
or a shotgun pointing at you from the end. But then the problem with the shotgun is you've got a wall right at the end of your desk, so you can't really position a long shotgun, in front of that. So I think maybe your lapel might go okay.
Yeah, I was thinking either that or a headset style thing that would go into the DSLR connection on the Scarlett that actually was good, maybe to get some boost stuff. I don't know. Hopefully,
so you're gonna look like one of those ones. You're gonna look like the NFL coach. He's got one of those things around there. Call the play.
But I don't want any.
Where have you got the cameras set up then? Where are you? I think you're gonna position the cameras in the streaming setup.
I've got a camera that's on an arm. I think I showed you a picture of it. And it's on an arm. Let's see if I could maybe I could pull it up.
Oh, is that the one above? Yeah, can you pull it up? The pictures you sent me.
We'll see if it will let it see if it'll pull up so people can see. But either way, there it is. Okay, so if you're able to see, what you're looking at here is, let me open that, move that around. That's interesting. Okay. So what you're looking at here is a photograph of the camera. You see it on the arm right here? I don't know how it works yet because I've not really tested it, but you see right
That's
there.
that
where
round,
camera
like
arm-
in the middle of the table. Is that the one? you mean?
Yeah, in the middle of the table. The lights are on the left and the right there, and then
Sure.
that's the camera.
What camera
Let me
is that?
see
I've
if
not seen one
It's just
quite
like
like
a
that.
little 1080p streaming camera, and this is some of the other stuff.
And
here.
it just
There
plugs
is.
in
Okay,
via
there's a
USB.
There's a better picture of it. I wonder why it won't
Yep,
go
that one there.
bigger.
It's just
There
USB.
we
Is it
go.
straight into your
There we
thing?
go.
There's no. You don't need a capture card or something
That's
on that.
better. No, it's straight. See, so here's what I've got right here. If you're looking at the picture, there's the monitor set up.
Yep.
And it's really hard to see. It's dark down here, but there's the PC tower. Under that, I have like this ridiculous power conditioner / surge protector that's like almost as big as the PC tower. And
Is that the one you got when you were on a trip? Didn't when last trip you got
yeah,
that big ass one?
Yeah,
okay.
It was like $60. I absolutely love the thing. It's awesome. There's the little boom box I was telling you about right there.
I got a similar one. Yep.
Now, if you look over here, this is the actual workspace, right, on the where that mod mat is. And then I've got my soldering equipment right there. I did put a lot of the soldering equipment out of the way for right now over on the left, too. You could see that. That will be if I need to grab it.
Sure.
There's 2 lights. There's the camera on the arm, like one of them. And then I have another USB camera that I have hooked up like outside a scene, like looking down at the whole thing. And then I was going to have like this camera probably with the capture card coming in, like the good camera looking at me sitting in front of the monitor right here. And then
So you could have 3. You're going for 3 cameras.
3 cameras to start. So what it would be is I
to
thought,
start.
yeah. So this is what I
Steven
thought. If you
Spielberg
look-
over here. All right,
Yeah. So I've also had that silly, what's that little device called down there? Why can't I think of it? It's the thing where you have the button, Steam Deck, a little
Steam
Stream
Deck.
Deck,
Yeah,
Steam
yeah,
Deck,
Stream
thing,
Deck.
whatever. So it's only got 6 buttons on it, but I was like, this is perfect. I'm going to set that thing up right there, and I'll have like scene 1, scene 2, scene 3, and scene 4 set up. And so scene 1 would be with a predominantly shot of me, like right talking for whatever reason. Scene 2 would be like the workbench camera right here with me in the corner, you know? And then I could have like scene 4 even be just that camera, or 3 be that camera. Then I thought if I wanted to do like a back out scene where it was like, all right, I'm going to take a break, and then I would just put it on scene 4, and it would be that large scale back of like the actual down shot, like looking at the workbench, you know, from an exterior view, and it would have like, I would play some background music.
Sure.
And then like
That's dope.
have like a cool little sign that says like be back in 5 minutes or something, right?
Changing my
Take a break.
bikini. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. So, and it would be more like a view like what you're seeing actually, kind of like this, you know, out of the viewpoint of the viewer on those normal scenes. And then I'm like, so I'm also looking at this other cool stuff to integrate, so I can go over that too that I haven't even really talked about.
I would say, yeah, get it going. I mean, all that stuff sounds good, but
Okay.
you know, get it go. I mean, get it going, and then add
yeah.
the stuff later. Yeah, that's a cool setup, man. I think people are really going to be interested in just to see your work, and just to, even if you don't talk for a while, which I know is hard for you, but just to see you do your work, I think is a fascinating thing for a lot of people. So that's a good way to make extra content and share more of your personality of your work.
Yeah, this right here, this glowing thing is a USB hub, so that there's more USB connectors. And one of the things I wanted to add was a microscope, or like a zoom-in microscope USB camera. They're like $100. I don't know if there's any good ones, but do you know what I mean? That you can like zoom in, you could go over.
Yeah,
and
some
zoom
people I know
super close,
right, to
in on
really get that
something.
the soldering when you want to really get that
like
close
a
up of the
microscope
solder
thing that I'm sure some of those guys use. That would be fun to add. But that's it. I don't know if any of these other pictures are worth anything. Let's see.
I think it's good, man. I like it. It's an evolution for you. It's the next step. I think it's something interesting.
Yeah, there's that
All right.
that boring PC case right there. So
Yeah, I was just going through the same thing. The pictures. Oh, I can see on that other one. Yeah, your boring PC case, your power conditioner, and the Stream Deck sitting there.
yeah, so that's exciting to think about, and that's my time to talk for like 20 minutes, and
Yeah, man.
explain
it's,
everything that's going on. So that's
That's something I would like to get to more of this too, I think. And we keep talking about streaming. I know. I just got to pull my finger out. When I get back, absolutely. We're going to do the live stream. You're going to be there to go. I can do the live stream here. I'm a little bit in my room here. I'm a little bit lacking in room. So I could do streams. I have some. But this is my sort of workbench and my enjoyment center or whatever fun room. Sort of I got my setup over there. I wanted to
I can see
ask,
your Extron over there, the massive
I positioned it in the
BNC
background.
connectors.
I was going to say, I was going to bring it over for a second. Hold on.
Great, yeah. Lewis is going to grab a just colossal piece of Extron hardware here. You brought this back?
So I was in Osaka, in Japan. And this thing, I guess I can't quite see. Oh, yeah, we can see. The price was 500 yen, $3.50. This thing was in the junk. There's a little label there in Japanese, and it says basically it powers on, which I think it translates to something like the unit was energized. When you directly translate it to English. And it was just sitting there, and I just knew... When it said it powered on, I was like, fuck yeah, this thing works. Like, these things are bricks. There's not that much that can go wrong with them. At worst, it's a recap, and that's why it's there. I mean, I know they're not even that much in America right now. Like, how much do you think, just sort of, if you were to find one of these in the States?
What is the model on that one?
Good question.
It really depends. They used to go for super cheap, and they've actually crept up there in rarity.
ISS 108. Actually, I've got a power cable here. Maybe I should just try and plug it in.
You should try it out. I'm sure it works. It's got an on-screen display that should come up. Ooh. Yeah. All right. So you could get one for $45 shipped to you right now. Integrated seamless switcher. Is that what it says right there? Yes.
Integrated. Yep, that's correct. Yes.
So yes, it's working. Look at the fans in that thing. That thing has so much hardware in it.
It's loud. Oh my God.
That's the thing about them. They are so loud sometimes.
Do they need all those fans? Maybe someone can comment in the, fan mods
hot,
for an Extron.
But
yeah, they get a bit hot. Okay,
but I don't know, man. Like I never have, like you say, I never have Extron gear go bad. I am blown away whenever. I don't think I've ever seen things not work on them. All right, like I don't know if I've ever seen one not working. But I have seen them get loud. Did you just lose your finger?
No, I got it. I'm good. So I couldn't help but, I mean, I stuck that in a suitcase. And, I paid, by the time I paid for the suitcase and paid for the shipping and all that, I paid, maybe I did end up paying like $45 or something by the time I actually got it home. But
oh my gosh, that's hilarious. And then I have to show you. Keep going about it. I have to show you this. I'm going to pull it up.
So they're very also hard to find in Estonia. I've got a certain amount of Extron stuff. I've got a nice VGA switch. I've got a composite switch. I've got a bunch of the DVS converters that Bob and I were testing. One that'll go from 15 kilohertz to VGA and above, and the other one that's actually a downscaler to 480i. I got a bunch of that stuff, but none of these big-ass cross points. What's that, Steve? What do you got? Someone's got it in a case.
This is yours, yeah. And this one comes with its own awesome, James
carry
Bond
case. Yeah.
Look at that.
I guess if some boys are taking it onto the site or something like that.
Goodness gracious. Could you imagine, if your job was lugging around this stuff somewhere? Wow. So, yeah, it is. I mean, it's a massive beast. I bet it weighs 30 pounds, doesn't it? Maybe more.
It was 5 or 6 kilograms. So I don't know what that is. But considering my weight was, 5 kg in 11 pounds.
Oh, that's not as heavy as I thought. Yeah.
No.
It's a solid piece of hardware, though.
Yeah, it's solid, but it's not too heavy. That's why I thought, because I get 23 kilograms as the allocation, so I was thinking like, okay, I can do this, put in the suitcase. So yeah, I'm keen for that. That fan thing though, I hadn't sort of.
Well, I'm sure you could get some silent fans.
True. Noctua mod for that.
Easily open. Or you could even get the cheaper. I'm sure you could find some cheaper than Noctua fans if you like. Since you have easier access to AliExpress. Noctua fans will run you like $20, $15-20 a piece.
Right, for the thing I paid $3.50 for.
Yeah, right. That's the thing. So this is going to give you like all different types of capabilities to take inputs, and then it spits them out of these two outputs.
Right,
The
master
preview
and some sort of
program
preview.
output.
Yeah. So that's going to be interesting. I also saw that I had already. It's like this has been planned from the beginning, because I had already bought from AliExpress some of their Phoenix audio connectors. The audio at the bottom.
Yes.
There seems to be a seller now on AliExpress who's offering them. And it's fine. It's a little Phoenix connector. So you've got to do the wiring. Actually, I can grab one of those so people can see that.
Yeah, go ahead. So you've got it. Yeah, the Phoenix connectors are just a creative way of getting audio wired into these and out of these Extron devices, and that's the name of the connection itself. Is called Phoenix. There we go.
So that's end plugs into, and so this is, and then it's a screw terminal on the other end. Now there's 5 little screw holes. Left and right are both 2 each. You got a positive and a negative. Well, I didn't quite actually understand that, Steve. Maybe you can explain. So left and right have got 2, and then there's one in the middle which is labeled ground. So I guess because it's a balanced connection coming out, so there's the positive and the negative of the balanced signal, and they've got a shared ground, which is why we get 5 for every. So that does.
Do you want to see something? Look at this. This is kind of, now I found an eBay seller making these things, but this is what our good friend, or a guy who isn't do much with the scene anymore, but DB Electronics. He made these, or he does other things, I believe now. But he designed these, which are a Phoenix connector, and it's actually just a little PCB that you stick in, and it gives you an RCA connection like this. And this is really the best option. Somebody gave me sent some of these that they had made to me, and they're awesome. Like you see right there, it makes it much easier, because otherwise you can send any kind of cabling you have into those. You just have to connect them to whatever you want, and there's generally a pinout listed on the bottom of that Extron for like what the actual audio connection is. If you needed to do mono, if you wanted to do stereo, or some kind of switching. I think it can do a lot of stuff through the Phoenix connector.
That's actually a very common thing with these Extron devices, that the underside will have like a big diagram manual thing. And I think that does reflect that these were often used in a professional environment. The boys are taking them on site in that friggin' huge flight case like you show, and the manual's not being saved. It's getting lost somewhere.
Right. So there's there's this is just the actual thing you can order from Osh Park, which is the straight up PCB.
I need that.
So it's open source. And you can see where it's got your left and your left positive and negative, right positive and negative. And I'm not sure I can't remember which one. I'm sure it says on the bottom of the thing, whichever one it's using, which looks like it's positive, right? Probably that's where the vias look like they're going is.
Oh, right.
I'm
So
not sure. Like this via looks like it's going maybe over here to right positive. This via is going to left positive. This one's maybe ground. I don't know.
But I've got to admit, this is where my knowledge falls down, because this is how does it work? Because there's balanced and unbalanced signals, and unbalanced has 1 and a balanced has 2, and they're like the opposite of one another, and then it works it out with the 2 opposites. So
I think we're right on there. There's the ground, but there.
So it looks like it's accepting unbalanced, straight up RCA, but you could in theory then run a balanced through that as well, I imagine. Someone can please correct us in the comments. I realize I'm only halfway there with my description.
Yeah,
of that.
But that's a really cool thing. Like,
and now,
that
but
you're going to be fooling with now is RCA.
I'm going to be fooling with it forever.
Phoenix.
because I'm going to be fooling with the RCA connectors. But then I've got to think about how am I wiring this up. I've mostly got SCART cables. I'm not going to do a SCART to BNC for all of them. But now, bit by bit, I think, that's one thing I need you to send to me is the high-quality BNC to RCAs. Because the ones, I just don't trust any of them that come from AliExpress. I don't think they're good enough, and I know that DigiKey or Mouser have them, but I can't get anything from DigiKey or Mouser. I have to order 50 euros worth.
BNC to RCA, you just mean the little adapters, yes.
Right. You had something. I remember you were...
Yeah.
You said something about this ages and ages ago.
I pulled that up, too, while we're talking about this, because they are... really, really high quality. There's a couple of different places you can get them from. Let me see.
I found them hard to obtain over here. I have some that I pulled from the broadcast van that I know they would be good, but any of the AliExpress ones are...
No, yeah, you don't want to... They're usually... This was something that, for some reason, people would argue with me a lot on, believe it or not, which I always thought it was a silly thing to argue on. You go and you buy all this incredible. This is a crimping one, so this isn't even the right one. But you go and you spend all this money on this incredible equipment. There's the crimping one again. That's not the right one. But to get like a CRT that's professional, right? You're getting a professional CRT, and then you're going to want to spend like $2-3 at the most for a set of these adapters, and that's like literally your interface with the monitor goes through this adapter, and a lot of them aren't even to spec. They could be a 50 ohm spec instead of 75 ohm spec, which is an issue. Now these ones you're looking at are about the highest quality that I've ever come across. I have a set of 4 of them because they are so expensive. They're about $6 to $7 each, and
so that starts to add up when you're thinking there could be 4 or 5 of them on each input. So by the time you get 4 or 5 of them, I'm like, well, I may as well just buy more of those SCART to BNC adapters instead. So I've got to rethink about my. I have a bunch of. I have a lot of VGA to BNC because I bought a big lot of genuine Extron cables a while ago, and there was a whole bunch of the VGA. I think we talked about this at a podcast of the VGA to BNC. So I want to sell them. Actually, I want to flip them, not for for a fair price, but I'll flip them on eBay. So either I can get something that's taking VGA in, or let's say D-sub through the D-sub connector. Or something like that. So definitely a long-term project.
That may be your best option, honestly, and that's one of the reasons people really liked the original G-SCART switch, is because it had like a D-sub or a VGA-style terminal coming out of it, so that where you could put in all your SCARTs and you have the VGA, and then you could kind of go, like you said, use a VGA to BNC cable that are way cheaper, and like if you get a bunch of Extron ones, those are really, I mean, they're like this quality somebody paid this level for at one point, like this. They're probably $60, $70, $80 cable sets, maybe more, whenever that commercial entity bought them originally, as opposed to what you're even buying today, which would be, again, that's the thing. People go and they put these systems, and the cabling interface is a big deal, because what happens is if you use cables that aren't tight enough, they'll just slip off the BNC.
That's what I found with the AliExpress BNC adapters. You could just, like, how do you know? I'm like, you can just feel when I plug them in, they're loose and they don't feel like it's a good connection.
A whole ton of those, and like just any little shift would cause half a dozen of them to just lose their connection.
So the Extron is definitely something. It's a long-term project to get all that hooked up. Not in, like, how to say, I don't think my life would be different if I hadn't brought home that Extron. If I hadn't plugged that thing back. There's a solution
out here that we need to talk about, and I'll try to find it. It's from. It was actually open source from Voltar, But it's like, it is a BNC to SCART adapter. Here it is. Let's see. Oh, I think I found it. Okay, yeah, this right here at Lewis is going to probably be the best option. I'm opening it up. This is a tweet from Voltar from, we'll see how old it is. 2021, so not that long ago. A couple years now.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
So you see,
yeah.
he's got this built, and this is actually really great because you could do two things here, right?
Mm-hmm.
If you want to stretch this cable out, you could just use BNC, like 4-way BNC cables, like that are bundled into one that's a PC cable bundle. That's pretty good quality, and those are generally like not as expensive, and you're doing pretty good with cable management, right?
Sure,
you just have one cable for all four. Or you can get adapters to just plug them in directly to probably the back of the Extron.
Right, and
then you stick your SCART right in there.
Does
and
that handle the audio?
Out the bottom.
So the audio it sticks into the Phoenix as well.
So
yeah,
you're sticking your SCART in. You don't even have to worry about these Phoenix adapters with this thing, right? Because the audio, you don't. That's only if you want to run the audio into.
That's true, and maybe you don't necessarily need to.
If you want to run the audio into the Extron, you can, but why would you probably want to do that? I don't know.
Well, then you just need to have an audio switch. You still got to deal with audio.
You're going to deal with your audio some other way, usually.
Maybe, yeah, okay. If there's some,
unless you wanted to just run the audio straight into your monitor that you're running out, right, or whatever if you want it all to be in there, you can. There is an audio amp in these. So it controls audio volume and some bass and treble. Not much.
Okay, that's
but
interesting.
There is one in the Extron usually, if they have the Phoenix connectors.
I like it.
So that's
yeah, I definitely the Extron is a long-term project because I've just never ever seen them around here. I don't think I would ever find one locally here. So then I had to factor in, well, will I ever find one again? How much would it cost to ship? If I wanted to ship this thing, it's going to be friggin' a lot to ship and a huge thing. So I decided I'm gonna live dangerously, live in the moment, and just bring one home with me. So that's the design there.
Like that. Yeah, I think that maybe we could, we should do something like that. Maybe on like a stream you could hop over and we could work on one of these, work on making like 10 of these. I could use like 10 of these in the shop here. I always forget because the other design is so flawed, the stupid Wookiee Wind style cables. Where it's
Wookiee Wind?
That's the guy who made them, and sells them for a decade on eBay in the United States. That's the name of the profile.
Right.
And anyway, these cables, they're just, all they are is, taking a SCART head and then solder it in. You're taking one of those cables that's a 4-way, again, computer cable, and you're cutting it in half, and you're putting a SCART adapter on each end, and then you got two sets. Then you sell those, right? That's the way it works.
Sure.
So but the problem is like the adapters, when you sit there and if you use those again and again, after like 50 times of taking them in and out, they fall apart. Like the actual cabling going in the back of the adapter, and there's nothing you can really do with them at that point.
Wait, actually, I think I've got my one here. Let me just double check this one for reference. Here we go.
Yeah, this cabling issue, it's always been part of the retro gaming scene. Such a troublesome thing.
So this is the one, I think.
It's
yes, I got this
style
This is from Retro Gaming Cables in the UK, which is a good guy to get cables from. Yeah, so female SCART there. And look, this is, and again, no shade against Retro Gaming Cables, nice company. Just the design in general of this typical thing. The problem for me is that the strain pulling down on that.
Yep.
So I've got to make sure that this is supported. If that's supported, then it's all right. But I just don't like
See, what happens to me is like you say, the strain happens, and right there at the point where the black meets the cabling of the color, that becomes frayed over time, and eventually the ground on it just becomes disconnected, and then you lose the whole use of the entire cable.
Yeah.
And I mean, I'm sure there's a way, again, if you got the crimping tool and all that stuff, you could strip that cable back and remake them.
Yeah, I don't want to do that shit, though. I may as well just
right?
make another one, yeah. So yeah, because speaking of, and my last... Wait, I was going to say my last...
I can't tell you how many of those adapters I've gone through in my life. I bet I've worn through like 60 of those exact adapters because I made them myself, but 60 of them because I was just so rough on them.
Now, the next X factor of this setup and how it would be is in Japan, I got this for about $20 or so. Now, this is genuine Nintendo. It's a genuine Nintendo, well, not SCART, JP21. Yeah. So I was keen to, I mean, for $25 or $20 or something, I'm like, I'm getting some genuine Nintendo cables for that. And I'm still unsure how I might use this. Because what I could do is sort of a reversible mod is open up the head and just rewire the pins. And then I've got a high quality, genuine Nintendo SCART cable here, or whether I just look at it and say, oh, I'm so fucking fancy, I've got a nice cable, or what I do with it. So there's now a bit of JP21 in the mix as well.
I think that's a cool little item. I think that you should, what you should do is the even better thing, make a video about the cool item, mod it, and then just set it on the shelf.
So, yeah, I couldn't. And the funny thing is, it doesn't have the model number on it anywhere. I mean, it's there. I mean, I could sort of see in the shot. Yeah. That's a real Nintendo head. I'm not concerned about that. But they don't actually have the
cable,
the HVC or whatever it is, that pin. The last one I wanted to show you, Steve, was this is a S-video cable for a PlayStation. And I think that... It's made by Hori. We can see there.
Oh, wow.
So Hori made, and these, I've never seen them outside. They're in Japan. And this is fucking hefty. That's a S-video cable, and it's thick. That's a huge thing there. And the funny thing is that I could see these cables. I see some S-video and some composite from Sony and from Hori when I'm looking around Japan. And some of them have very thin cables, but then it seems Sony and Hori also made these versions with, I mean, that's thick. That is thick for an audio cable there. So Sony both have it's a ton of shielding. Sony both seem to sell the thin cabled composite ones, which is probably what most people have and what they've known. But I've seen a bunch of genuine Sony ones that are thick like this as well. And I don't know what their thinking was, or why one is thicker than the other, or how they marketed them, or something like that.
Do you think it would have been... Well, it's like a high-end option, and if you're Sony and you're selling your highest-end TV, and you've got a clientele that's into just high-end stuff, it's almost like, does it actually do anything? I mean, it's analog video. Who the hell really knows? Back in the day, Sony could have claimed and legally gotten away with the fact that it is technically extra shielding and like heavier duty, right?
Sure.
And
does it just
like
feel
I said,
good?
But maybe you have a client that you're like, oh man, this guy, he gets everything. He gets the. It's like it's like a guy who gets the high end shoes. You're going to fill the shoe with the expensive inserts and like fancy shoelaces. And charge him on the back end because he doesn't care. He loves having the whole shebang. So maybe that's that. I could believe there'd be a bit of both to that.
Same guy who bought monster cables back in the day, and the same kind of idea.
Man, monster cables. Holy crap. I remember like going to Best Buy and drooling in monster cable land. Something that people don't do anymore.
Also, maybe you never heard of this before. I saw that if I'm looking for cables, and I don't mean no name cables in Japan, but something that's got a brand label on. Of course, I'm going to see Sony or Nintendo, the genuine ones. But for PlayStation plugs, I saw Hori has a lot, like that thick one there, S-Video, regular ones. Also, FujiWorks has a lot. And I know you've never heard of them as well. I mean, Fuji, we've heard of. We know the photograph company from back in the day. I presume somehow they're related, some sort of technology conglomerate. but FujiWorks made a couple of controllers. I think I got a picture somewhere in my Twitter of FujiWorks controllers. And I've got a couple of FujiWorks cables. And again, they're these thick mofos like that. But FujiWorks, do you see anything?
I've seen there's a bunch of stuff that they made PlayStation 2 memory cards.
Yeah.
That's the first thing that pulls up. And let's see here. FujiWorks D-terminal cable. Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah. They've got like the metal ends and stuff. The things, the like really heavy duty steel end, like, or metal RCA plugs and things. Is that
Yeah,
what you
they're
mean?
hefty. They're hefty. So Fuji,
Yeah,
it's
they
the
like
wood.
almost want to rip your, like, if you throw it into like your receiver, it's like almost about to rip
Yeah.
the other end out. Yeah.
And you wouldn't think that when you think of cable companies, right, or who am I going to get good analog cables from, you don't think FujiWorks isn't a name that comes to mind, but they're good. They're good.
Yeah, there's an officially licensed product.
Yes, they are.
Here.
They got the label.
So
Yep,
that
yep.
makes complete sense as to why they would be really good. And I mean, those look like they're on a flex cable, the one I'm looking at. I keep forgetting I'm not on share screen anymore. I'll show you what I'm looking at real quickly here. But it's just a D-terminal cable.
Mm-hmm. Good old D-terminal.
Here on eBay. And, yeah, gold ends.
While we're
Yeah, you
looking
can see
at
if they're
that,
officially licensed product
definitely.
of
Yeah, this Hori one, yeah, definitely. It's got the PlayStation logo up there on the screen.
Oh yeah, that's awesome.
Did you know? Did you know, Steve, that there was some TVs in Japan that accepted a PlayStation multi-out as an input, and you can get a analog video cable that has a PlayStation multi-out at both ends, designed to go from your PlayStation into the TV. Had you ever heard of that before?
Is this a Trinitron that was it with? A Trinitron, you think? I mean,
I'm trying to think. No, I saw.
all right. I've heard of an Xbox version of what you're saying. Like there is an original Xbox TV, and it had the same kind of thing. Where on the original Xbox, you got the big fat thing, and there's a cable both ways. It goes directly into this TV. I've never seen one, and I didn't know. I didn't know about the PlayStation thing either.
I
never heard of that one
because I saw one of the cables. It was about $30, and I was like, "What the hell is this?" I just doesn't
it was both ends same.
Make any sense to me. And then it was only some days later, quite coincidentally, someone posted about it and said, "Yeah, the TV's got the PlayStation in," and then it all hit. So again, these sort of weird proprietary formats that were much more common in Japan, but I've never seen so much of it. Multi-out.
Was it a flat screen?
Honestly, don't remember. Because I'm not sure I saw it. I think I saw a picture of the TV, and then that's where it all kicked in later. And I went, oh, it's that cable I saw. That's what it's used for. Right.
Yeah. I don't like. I remember people talking about the one that was the Xbox one was a it was a CRT. So that's why everybody was asking me about it, and I wish I could find one of them. It's just even hard to find pictures of those anymore.
Yeah, I've never heard of such a thing. That's cool that the TV might have had it. All right.
Yeah.
Oh, good,
man. So, what well, you want to have a quick chat about we were laughing about before we were recording about stuff that's floating around in the retro gaming scene right now with DKOldies.
Mm-hmm.
Just bring it up real quick, right?
So DKOldies are a American-based, online-only seller of retro games. They're well known for not only the stock that they have, but also they've got a very active social media account, posting a lot. I follow the Instagram, and they got very clever TikTok-y social media videos every day. And they're amusing.
I've seen them.
You know, you could see stuff. They're putting work into it. So people have issues, though, with DKOldies.
Yes, they do.
We're
Some
pulling
people
it
do.
up
And I mean, what are you going to say? Like, people want to get online and just buy something quick, I guess, and they see this. Like you say, you see this guy, like, all over social media. Like,
Joey.
Yeah, the guy, it's like YouTube Shorts, TikTok, Facebook Reels, anything. I don't know, probably Instagram, too. So I don't know. Like, is it a ridiculous price? Yes, but at the same time, I don't know that it's like, well, I don't know. What do you think, Lewis?
So if I understand what's the issue people have seems to be seem to have an issue with the price and the, crazy, ridiculous prices. As much as I've understood, the stuff is good quality. Now, if the stuff isn't good quality, I don't know about this, and this is clearly a concern.
Okay, so I think that's the problem now, is the quality
price
isn't that great.
Oh, okay. Right. Yeah.
So that's what I've been seeing. Like, the videos I've been seeing are people unboxing stuff that are consoles that are supposed to be refurbished, and they'll have, like, for an example, the Nintendo has chips around the side and is like dirty still. Like, the shell's still dirty. Same thing with like N64. I've seen a bunch of those get pictures of them, and they look like grungy, rough consoles.
Because they do take time to explain their refurbishing procedures, and they do show soldering. And for the most part, they seem to, have some good techniques. I think once or twice I saw a few things that I was like, that's a bit of an iffy way to do it. But hey, I'm no expert, so what do I know? But for the most part, not too bad. But if you're getting something dirty, because that's the flip side of high cost, right?
Yeah, goodness gracious. Well, I mean, it's hard to say. You could definitely get, if you just want to do a buy it now off eBay, here's a probably similar kind of bundle. That's actually, you get to see the exact bundle, $129, free shipping. I mean, yeah, it is $60 more. Look, you got to, this was the thing too, like, you get in here, and I don't know, like, there's the cost of the console, and then you have to pick that you don't want, like, generic controllers.
Yeah, okay.
And you'll get a generic controller, which, at least they're telling you, I guess, right? So
yeah,
I don't know,
that's
like, to me, it was kind of odd that, I thought it was bad look that a lot of them just came out crappy looking. And I don't really know whether it's the fact that this company's trying to make money on a product that's old. I'm sure the complaint too is that people were getting really low-balled offers, like $30 back if you tried to sell them this like bundle.
Sure.
They would offer you like $30 to buy it from you. So now it does come fully cleaned, it says, and refurbished, like you said. Great condition, free from cosmetic flaws, and guaranteed to work a year. There he is.
Now, if you got something, though, okay, there's a few things to pick apart with what you've said. There's a few things to pick apart what you've said, though. First of all, if it comes in bad condition, then that's straight up like a consumer protection thing. They've advertised very clearly on their website that it's free from flaws. Now, if it comes with flaws, then that's quite clearly I'm going to return it and get my money back. And, that's the consumer laws that say you've sold me something, you've explicitly said that it's going to be clean, and it's not. When it comes down to price, if we take the assumption that it is a good condition one, if we assume for the means of this conversation that if you order an N64, you're going to get a good one, like in good condition, I'm less hesitant to criticize them on the price. And I'm also, by that flip side, I'm also less hesitant to criticize them on the buy rate. I don't feel so bad about companies who have a high price, because at the end of the day, you can choose. You do not have to buy DKOldies, and you may love this hobby, and you may have an emotional connection to what we do and to making sure that these things are still available, but you do not need to buy this. And even if DKOldies are going around buying up everything in sight, still, they have a low buy price because, well, they clearly have a huge operation. When you look at their social media videos, there's like 5 staff. Now, I know in America, the hourly rate is like 50 cents or some shit, right? Like, I know you guys have a low bloody hourly rate, and no one can live from that.
Yeah,
so who's to say what the
it's
employees
definitely, they definitely have a big operation
they have
for like
a big
retro
operation.
store. You know,
That takes a lot, right? That takes a lot to employ those people, to keep that, to get all that stock when they show the stock, to buy the stock, to keep that, to, again, assuming that what you're getting is good quality. So I'm less hesitant after running a business myself that was top heavy and had too many employee costs myself. I'm less hesitant to criticize somebody for that because, okay, be my guest. Go to eBay then. I think there's something to be said. Take some time to look at the comments on DKOldies social media, and I think you will get more of an idea about who's buying from them. They are nobody in our community. They are complete civilians. They are people that are just buying it straight up. Because they want they want 2 games and they want that nostalgia feeling. Because when you, especially some of their soldering videos or the ones that are a little bit technical, where they show something about behind the scenes, you could just tell from the comments that these are just real non-gamer people. So I can only then assume this is one of their larger markets, which is non-gamer people. And now I know that people in our community then feel bad and they feel like, well, you're getting ripped off. You don't know, and you're getting ripped off, but.
Well, like you say, and there's another thing that even adds more kind of what I feel like is value and undervalued maybe a lot by people that are in our community who know how to fix things and refurbish stuff. A 1-year warranty on a old console, that's a long warranty.
That's true.
Like, I know eBay gives you a money-back guarantee and PayPal, but there is no 1 year. I mean, unless you buy that extra warranty, which I've never messed with. I don't even know. There's probably red tape to get around.
I never think to do that on eBay. So once you get it, like eBay protection seems good when it's like I sold it, but I bought it, but I never got it, or I got it and it was broken. But if you get it and it works when you get it, in my mind, that's sort of where eBay mostly ends.
Right. But again, this website does have it. That's the thing. They have a year built-in warranty. That's probably where they internally say that's a big value proposition for us. So that's why we're able to charge more. And like you said, hopefully it is where the consoles are actually coming in nice. Now, like, again, some of them that I saw were coming in dirty, but this is YouTube and TikTok videos that are just trying to get clicks too. Right. So I don't know. I don't know if anybody that's listened to this has actually bought anything from them. Because again, I feel like the people that listen to us are more hardcore gamers, looking for the junk bin and or buying at as cheap a cost as possible on stuff, and are very comfortable using eBay. Where you say, if you go online and you're like, I'm just going to get this for my kid brother for his birthday as a gift, right? Like, you might just go to this site and say, hey, if anything happens with this in a year, you just send it back in and they'll take care of it.
So this is assuming the stuff is in good condition. Now, if it's not, all bets are off, and that's probably even worse because they're advertising a quality product. They're advertising a high-quality product, and they're not delivering. So, and if then you can't return... If you say, hey, this has got a scratch or all these dings in it and I can't return it, well, that's no good either. And that's like, if there's evidence of that and not just some TikToker picking on them.
Right. So there was some good evidence I did see against. So let's take, we've taken the good side for DKOldies a little bit here and understood what like a good, if you're running this from a good place of like, hey, this is our business model. We're striving to be this in the community. Of course, we're going to be more expensive because we have to be higher than the market price. And like you said, if we're doing everything right, then who's to say we're not providing a good value if we are refurbishing? Like it says this is refurbished. Now, if I'm going to sell something that I consider refurbished, that means I've opened it up and at the least amount I've cleaned it and I've checked components, changed any components that may need to be done.
Yep.
I actually, for mine, like, usually if it's a CRT, if I'm considering something to be refurbished, it's had some type of a capacitor replacement kit done to it, okay? Now, I don't know, that's one of those ranges of terms where somebody else could say, oh, I went in there and I dusted it and it's refurbished, I guess.
Well, they do. I have seen on their social media videos of them opening a GameCube and replacing caps. So they have, again, does this happen to all things? Who's to say? But they at least are showing that they do open them up. They replace the batteries on every game. Every game that's got a battery in it, they replace the battery, or I think. They've got a disc refurbisher. They refurbish the discs. And I have seen them in social media videos cleaning a GameCube, replacing the caps. So now... Do they do that for all of them?
Fair?
I hope.
I
hope.
I don't know. And it seems to me like that might be a little bit far-fetched, even at these prices, that they could literally employ people back there recapping GameCubes all day and correctly do it. I mean, I don't know. Maybe that's. I feel like there might be something to this idea also that, and the only thing that brings me up is there actually is evidence. So they sold refurbished this one guy with a bigger channel than us. He bought a refurbished PlayStation 3, and he got it in, and it was listed as refurbished, but it hadn't been refurbished because the warranty sticker covering the screw had never been removed or cut. So, and then he had bought an Xbox 360, I believe. And it was listed as refurbished, and he opened it up, and just there hadn't been like any new paste put on anything, which I think for that system you would definitely want to do. So I don't know whether it's a thing where they think that, okay, the idea might be churn and burn, right? Is it going to be better to sit there and service all these things and get them out there? Or is it vice versa? You got guy, hey, we're going to get out there. We're going to make everybody think this is what we're doing. We have our systems listed as refurbished. We'll put out videos of some of them being refurbished. At the same time, it's like almost like a Ponzi scheme. If you're buying a system from them and it fails within a year, they're just going to give you the next person's system that they bought for $30 out the back door and give that to you as your replacement. Of course, it's going to last within a year. So if you could play devil's advocate where they're just like, well, we have so many of this console in stock, we just sell them, and we have a 10% return rate automatically built in, and we're buying them at 10% of the cost we're selling them. So it's like, welcome to America. I think there's probably a scandal lurking at every doorstep, possibly, or nothing. That's the wonderful.
I think, we have to break down the scam. Is it people just having a whinge about the price, or is there actually something going on that it's not refurbished when they clearly say it's refurbished, when they advertise and show that? Like, can I get a GameCube that isn't recapped? Do they only recap a non-working GameCube? If there's something with that, then absolutely. If we just want to talk on price, that's where I'm a bit more sympathetic to them. Here's the next part where this is not a scam thing again. This is more to they advertise it, but is it the right thing to do? So we spoke briefly about controllers, and you do see in their social media clips that sometimes they're like, hey, this guy's buying a Wii, and it's a generic controller, and you know that's a piece of shit controller. And you could see sometimes they offer the generic one instead, and you know that's going to be bad. So, okay, maybe that's said explicitly on the website, and that person, because there are people that seem to go there and go like, oh, we don't care. I guess these people don't know about the product so much that they're happy to pay a premium for the N64, but then they cheap out on the controllers as well, if that's an extra. One of the things that I think, if I look at it, what irks me and what concerns me is that they say, hey, we're throwing in here's your PlayStation 1. We're throwing in the cables, and we're throwing in a HDMI converter. And they're giving... That's
exactly what... I mean, you keep going. Yeah. Sorry.
The cheap HDMI, or we're throwing in the pound cables, or we're throwing in those cables, right. And they're offering... How much do they sell that? How much is that? $35!
This
all right, you know what I said about being cool with price and shit? Fuck that. All right. I change it all.
This right here is proves. This right here actually leads you on more of a wild goose chase than helps their cause. To throw this piece of garbage, this AV to HDMI converter, into any of these retro consoles immediately turns it into a dog turd of an experience half the time.
Yeah.
Half the time. You know, all of a sudden you got somebody that wanted to play something. No wonder, Lewis, they can't spend all day playing on this crappy converter. They don't put enough time on these consoles to break them down in a year. They're not using them like they were originally done. So the problem is it's all based, and this is not, again, this, when I just went, I found this first on their, they sell it with it's right down here, HDMI. Okay. You have to add it for, again, $25. $25, and that is, again, like, I mean, anybody can go buy that. Oh my gosh. You know,
I know that's their markup. I don't know. I guess I gave you that huge spiel about price and understanding price,
well,
but
it's good
when it's just
we've got the full conversation here.
If it's just some cheap Chinese shit.
I mean, right, there you go. It's the same thing right there. $10 less if you just don't want to buy it from them from Prime. And at least they're not claiming that it's working.
And five if you order it from AliExpress or like the Chinese seller, which yes, will take a long time.
Because that's what's happening. Is this person's buying it from AliExpress for $5, selling it for $15. These guys are over here probably buying it from AliExpress for $5 and flipping it for $25 for an add-on. So look at this. If you add, I guess that's the big complaint, right? If you do this, let's get here. Let's see how much this costs. If I'm like, I want to get all this, just the console with the regular controllers and the AV pack. Wait, it doesn't let me see how much my shipping is? Oh my gosh. All right, I'm gonna stop sharing and I'm gonna tell you let you sink in that, and I'm gonna see how much my shipping is gonna be on it.
Wait, do that. I'm just gonna go. I know we haven't got long to go, but I gotta go to the toilet.
Oh my god!
I gotta calm down or something. Wait,
I gotta. This is unreal. So I'll share this while Lewis goes over here. Shipping to me in Virginia. I mean, you can see whatever. The shipping options. Oh, it says actually maybe I get priority mail for free, I guess. Is that right? Okay. So at first I thought I was just going to only be able to charge $30. So it looks like you get free shipping. Wow. Okay. So maybe that's a little bit better for you. Of course, I mean that's a $20 flat rate box, right, for priority shipping on something like that. So that's about a $20 deal on shipping. So we'll have to have Lewis's reaction. I really think it's just gross to sell this RCA to HDMI adapter, though, and consider that somebody would have a good experience with this thing. I mean, is it possible? Yeah, if they're playing like Chrono's Trigger or some kind of RPG, this scaler wouldn't probably interfere with that. But goodness.
So maybe it's good we went about this conversation in this manner, because for me, let's analyze why. If you tell me that the N64 costs 200, 220, whatever bucks, I'm like, I could see the greater scope in that. Maybe you've done the service to it. It's taken time to source that part, to keep that stock. But somehow then when you start adding on, it's generic controllers, but we're going to give you a real one for extra. And then this is now, you start to lose me where to prove, like, I would go like, you're a reputable retailer. You take pride in what you do and all this stuff. But now I'm starting to, what are you looking at here? Shipping policies?
I wanted to see like what the actual warranty says here. Okay, store credit within 1 year is an easy exchange. You get store credit within 1 year.
Okay.
New unopened products may be returned for purchase price, not including shipping, within 90 days. Pre-owned, open, new product may be returned for refund, purchase price, not including shipping, within 30 days. So you do get a 30-day money-back guarantee.
What's the 1 year thing then?
Then it's just covered for the store credit for 1 year.
You get your money back within 30 days, but you can get store credit after. Okay, up to
after 30 days, it's a return
All right. Okay.
Yeah,
Well. Okay. You got to.
I mean, it's something that definitely like. I don't feel. I just
Okay, I want to pose here's a new dimension to this then, which I have pondered myself while watching their videos. I watched Joey put in the HDMI adapter that we know it's garbage, or he's like, here's the HD pound cables, and we know they're garbage. My problem is then, what else? There isn't. It's the same thing when I'm trying to read some Reddit /r GameCube on Reddit, and someone's like, I just got my GameCube, how do I hook it up to my TV? And the good answer is spend at least another $50 on a cable. And it's still,
it kind of sucks, like you said.
It sucks.
Almost makes us sound like elitists because we're like, oh well, like this is the same thing that like people were sitting around RGT 85's video complaining about retro gaming being full of elitists. And I don't know, that is one way to look at this. Like, we look like elitists saying this is trash. How dare they sell this? But I don't know. That's a hard argument for me to make, to say this is the appropriate way to do something, right? It's like if you went out and you took a shit in the toilet and it's like, no, you can't have good toilet paper. You only have to use sandpaper. I'm sorry, we've never figured out any better solution. It's just more sandpaper. And then it's like, well, you're an elitist if you don't use the sandpaper.
Sure.
And so, I mean, that's maybe the dumbest comparison ever. But there's different grades to this, and unfortunately, like, there's no, like you say, then you open up the rabbit hole. How do you actually get somebody to have a good experience? It's like, well, do you have an old television? Right? Because the best thing is to somehow get it
played on that.
On an
How do I play it on
analog
my flat
style
screen?
television without trying to use one of these little things.
Yeah, at best, maybe if you think about also often those solutions. Again, going back to who is buying this stuff, if you watch their comments, real civilians are buying this stuff. So it's even too much to say, go talk to this Mike G guy and go buy a rad, something X, whatever your version might be.
Yeah.
Cables into this, there's another power supply into that. There's a lot. Now, at best, maybe if they were still in stock, something like the Rad 2X would be a good solution. Last time I checked, Retro Gaming Cables doesn't have many of those in stock. That was a very, plug and play. Hey, it's expensive, but we know this is going to work real well. It's a tough one to swallow when you've just bought a GameCube. Even if you bought it cheap off eBay for $40 or something like that, you are up for another $40 to get a halfway reasonable cable.
And let's face it. I mean, I know it sounds like elitist, but this might be like one of the best options for people. But again, look, you're going to get like good performance out of this. Is this showing up on your screen?
Yep. You can see the
this
mini.
is currently out of production. So they don't even have this option. That's what I was going to say, due to chip shortages. But this was an amazing product. Yeah, chip shortage.
That's is that the one that just
it's just a 2X mini that you can go in and you could just plug in your composite or your S video, and then it gives you digital video at the back end.
Is it doing HDMI. Is that one doing line doubling or anything?
Doubling. Yeah,
it's just doubling.
Like
that's
doubling,
fine.
480p.
So it'll give you 480p out the back.
Yeah. So as long as this was so then you have something else. This might actually be available. The SCART to HDMI. Yep, RetroTink 2X SCART. So some of these are available, but again, you're getting into something that's way, like you said, then you're like, whoa, well.
Yeah.
But
I'm looking now
see, here's a good thing though. If you are on a budget, you're on a budget to spend $280 on an N64, right, or some kind of console. And you could spend the same amount of money, get this nice Mike Chi solution and the console from eBay. Then, that's, with this being the same price point, right, as the DKOldies listing, then you can have a good argument right there.
Or should you even... Okay, so we've decided I want that nostalgia hit. I'm going to get the N64 because that's what me and my brother had when we grew up and all the da-da-da. But then I've got to spend $220 on the console. Then DK want a bit more for the bloody controller. So I'm going to have a proper controller. And then you start thinking, well, what do I need to play it properly? It's going to be another $50 on whatever, just roughly, right? Whatever, something like that. It's like, do you just go buy a friggin' SNES Mini or something? Just go buy something with HDMI out and have a nice, just buy a nice little emulation solution. Like that's it's so nice. Yes, I've got the same thing we had, but by the time you do everything that you need to have that nostalgia hit, like I guess you've already like when you go to DKOldies, you're thinking like you're already set. Oh, I'm gonna get myself an N64. Yeah. Like. By the time that adds up $300, I don't know. I mean, yeah, no, Mist is not a good example because it's a quite technical thing.
But if you think about the experience you're going to get, I mean, I know what it looks like. If you the N64, for example, it's one of the worst when you scale it through those trash $20 converters.
Mm-hmm.
It looks absolutely awful, and it'll lag. It'll last. Artifacts, it'll bleed, it's one of the worst combos you can do is the composite out of that with that scaled up to HDMI. And so I feel like they turn it on and you get an instant nostalgia hit and then it just becomes a shelf sitter, don't you think?
Yeah, you may as well look at that stage to a HDMI, I don't know, some sort of emulation box or
right. And then you might have another, if it's somebody who's really a younger gamer, they might then go and find a digital copy to download on their modern console and play that version of the game because it's actually, I mean, not always, right? We saw the emulation kind of be a disaster sometimes for Nintendo. But
if you see, and I was thinking for a moment then, because you see, they sell not just Nintendo and Super Nintendo and an N64, but a lot of their videos seem to be based around PlayStation 2, Xbox 360, even PlayStation 3. But by the time, as the console gets newer, it's easier to find that without going to DKOldies. I understand that maybe N64 or Super Nintendo, fine, they're the ones that you need to go to the dedicated retro seller for. But once you, I mean, PlayStation 2, PlayStation 3, come on. PlayStation 3 is something I can get from any Craigslist ad, and it's got a HDMI in it. I do not need to buy a PlayStation 3 from DKOldies. It's harder to convince me of that.
Yeah, it is. And, I mean, this big point on everything, I guess it also comes down to some things like we were just talking about what's your definition of what maybe really refurbished means, right? People can use that term and loosely use that. Well, it's almost the same thing with scam, right? I mean, are they actually not delivering on anything here? That's what we're talking about. If they're not delivering on something, but if to them refurbishment is just opening something up, blowing the dust out, closing it back up, testing it, and cleaning outside the shell, if that's their definition, then they're not really, I mean, technically they're just like expensive and they are at least offering some extra things. The shipping was actually free in the U.S. if you wanted to do it. So that's like, what's your definition of a scam? A scam a real scam is like Bernie Madoff, right? Stealing people's money.
Yeah.
But they're at least giving you something,
right,
living up to this promise, trying to. But if you type in like DKOldies in America in Google, the next word that follows it is scam.
Scam, right?
And it's just like, is it a scam? Is it?
Maybe I got to watch these
6
videos.
Months.
If it's not, like, if they're not delivering you what they promise, then it's a scam. If they are, then it's a more nuanced conversation about how could we get that, why are we getting that, and
value.
Why isn't there a better HDMI solution for old consoles? It's not really, because the market's not big enough. Mike Chi's done his best to expand as far as he can, but it's still a limited market. Yeah,
it's an interesting. I mean, and again, like, is a scam just simply a bad deal? Some people really honestly will call a scam a bad deal, and that's fine. But at the same time, when I want to see scam, it's not like, I don't want to see somebody say I got scammed, and it's like I paid 500. You know, I paid 5% over market value for an item. I got scammed by this scammer because I paid that. Sometimes people buy stuff just for more than the market value on something because they might want it. Like you know, so
that's not. I agree, and at least in my world, that's not. If you paid too much for it and you understood and there was no gun to your head and you understood you could get it from somewhere else, that's not a scam. That's just now if it's not refurbished, like they say. So I think that actually what is refurbished, what you were commenting before, their very active social media is probably clearly one of their huge advantages, but it can also be a disadvantage. Now, it's an advantage because, okay, a lot of people see it, so it's great marketing for them. It can be an advantage. Well, in this conversation, I was able to present positives about DKOldies and their business because they show a lot of behind the scenes. I see a lot of people there. I see a lot of stuff going on. I see workers. So I'm going, okay, they got costs. Takes a lot to run that operation. So in some way, I was able to generate sympathy for them and understanding through their transparency. However, the kind of where it gets to the scammy territory is where they showed me that they open up a GameCube, rip it right down, the drive comes off, they've got the main circuit board, and the dude was desoldering caps, little surface mounts, and then putting them back on. And when I see that, I assume that this is the service that every GameCube has got. Now, I don't know if they get a GameCube, play a game, and it's like, hey, it works, I'm going to sell this GameCube. This is where maybe that transparency can work against them because I've seen them do something. So I assume they do that for every GameCube that they sell, and maybe they don't. I don't know.
Yeah. They're really, really good at their social media stuff.
True.
I mean, they're showing you quick short. A lot of the quick short videos I believe I saw from at first was like, it would be them throwing a bunch of Pokemon carts in front of some guy and say which one's real and which ones are fake.
Sure.
Do all kinds of that. So a lot of their stuff is like trying to come from the side of this, like they know what's going on, right? Like they're educated in this stuff.
Okay.
But at the same time, it gives you such frustration because you're like us and you look at them recommending this AV switcher. And it's literally like guys walking around trying to be serious, wearing clown paint, like trying to give you a serious talk on something, and they're dressed like a clown. That's the perception it comes off.
That is a good point. So they present themselves, hey, look, I'm so clever that you can drop 10 Pokemons in front of me, and I'll tell you like that which one is fake and which isn't, which is cool. And that establishes you as an expert. But then there are some other areas where they, at least let's say, play ignorant. Which one of those might be, let's say, the HDMI solutions, which are pretty key, whether I have a good time or not, lag, and whether my picture looks trash. On that regard, they play ignorant and say, well, it's the HDMI. You know, on the other hand, they're like, we're so fucking experts, I can identify a cartridge like this. Well, if you're such experts, why aren't you doing a better HDMI solution? So, okay.
And it looks like maybe the thing is like they've accepted that. Like, that's the thing. Like, okay, we're stuck because we have no product that's available on the market, you know, for a little bit of money. It's like we can't upsell our customers every time to buy a $260 console and a product that we try to upmark to $100 that's a decent, lag-free, easy-to-use style converter. So it's always going to be that's always a challenge here. Because at the same time, like I say, you're presenting yourself as the expert on retro, but then you're like, well, I don't know how to make it. Like, what do they say when someone says, why did I press my button? Why does it take so long? Oh, well, I don't know. That's like, you know, you have to go down that rabbit hole on your own.
It's TV. Yeah,
I'm
it's just a TV. Fuck you.
What the answer is there. Because,
and I wonder, okay, if you are such a big operation that has so much at employees and you're going for that, I don't know, work with Mike Chi and develop something. Work with the retro gaming cables, make the Rad 2X. Like, if you're going to upsell them, clearly, I mean, retro gaming cables in the UK worked with Mike Chi, licensed the Rad, the RetroTink technology, and stuck a RetroTink essentially in a cable. and it's a retro tint combined into a cable, and they sell it for 60 quid. Now, $60, let's say, whatever. So they sell it for, you can buy the Rad 2X for $60, which is a lot. But then again, if DKOldies are selling that HDMI adapter for friggin' 35 or 25 each, it's not a massive, like they could have a huge win if they said, guys, we sat down with the expert. We got Mike Chi technology. We've got him. Apparently they're the friggin' experts at upselling.
They could charge the upsell amount and be legitimate at it. They could charge extra, and they could say, this is why it actually is the best experience. And somebody say, holy crap, we finally got somebody here. Yes, it's expensive. Yes, we knew it was going to be expensive, but they understand it, and they actually are there 100%. Instead of what it feels like, too, is a lot of times these are like businesses that are like dipping their toes in the scene, right? Like dipping their toes in the scene. They're not really all in. Because like you said, they're not in here to make an advancement. They're in here to make money flipping consoles and the end of the day, or they would be trying to, and maybe they are. I don't know. Maybe they'll randomly hear this conversation and not get upset about it and try to take some advice, or maybe they'll just think we're crazy. Who knows?
Maybe. They're business. So once it goes out the door, they don't mind too much, maybe. That's it. They don't mind. I don't know.
I don't know. It brings up a lot of interesting points. I don't know that is it a scam? Again, that comes down to what you think is a scam. Mm-hmm. What side of this coin are you on when you look at them? Do you feel the way about them loosely using terms, or do you believe that they're actually refurbishing this stuff? Mm-hmm. I feel like an easy thing for them to say is if they are actually refurbishing the consoles and they're accused of not, it is very easy for them to go and prove that, right? They could say, if that's really what they're doing, they could go prove that. They're already set up. They have a huge audience. They could immediately come out and say, yes, look, here's what we're doing. Here's our answer to the scam emails, and it would be viral, and it would make their business better. But the minute that they remain quiet on it and they try to produce other style content and continue down that road, it immediately should throw up a radar to you to think, hey, you know what? They got their chance out there, and it would have been a reasonable solution, but instead they ran tuck tail, never addressed the idea of what refurbishment really meant, just decided to try to let it die down under the rug because behind the scenes they're not really recapping every GameCube.
Yeah. So, and I understand why you're passionate about that, because I know that when you sell monitors, like you've got a whole documentation. You're like, here's the freaking 100 photos I took of your exact TV being worked on, and you've got a price that I feel reflects the value of the unit and the work being done, and you have that proof that this product was worked on, and here's the exact work I did to it. And then you go like, cool, all right, I get it. So I get why you're passionate.
That's exact. Anytime I work on boards and stuff, I take pictures of that and put it back. And it's also in case I ever get a question about a board. I go back and look at it, close high-res photos of it. Mm-hmm. But it turns out I may have had to buy an extra cloud storage space because I have folders upon folders upon folders of past work. And then anybody who gets something serviced from me gets that file with service notes, and then they can do whatever they want with that documentation. I feel like that follows the device almost like a car report history on something. So
absolutely. All right, mate. This is going to be a good one.
That's the best difference between like what my definition of truly refurbished is and then people are even like think I'm wrong, where some of them might feel like every cap in a device needs to be changed. Mm-hmm. Everything on every part needs to be serviced. So there's definitely different levels to that.
Just absolutely. All good, mate. Why don't we wrap it up there? Thanks very much, everyone, for watching. We had a little discussion about that. So hopefully we're going to be able to get the next episode out soon. What are you working on in the next couple of days, Steve? What are you
I'm going to get this studio up and running. Mm-hmm. And so whatever, maybe when I get some streams going, I'll try to do like a Discord call with you. And you could just do like a really crazy video chat, and we'll pull you on the stream sometime if you're if you could get away on your vacation for 5 minutes, or if not,
Yeah, I
we'll
got
just do it
the
when you get
phone.
back.
We could do that. You know, that's so funny. That I've got this nice Sony camera. I bought a lapel mic. I took all the shit with me to Japan, and in the end, I just filmed with my phone. Everything I did with
Yeah.
my phone, it was the easiest. Like if I hold it like this, the audio's great. So yeah, I've learnt that I can do stuff on the road with my iPhone. I'm doing that. God, it's dinner time,
Sounds
Steve.
good.
Time to go have another
All right,
drink.
man.
Anyway, love to see you.
Let's go.
Thanks to everyone for watching. We appreciate the support.
next
See you next time.